Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Real View. Real views from real people where we discuss film, TV and music, give our opinions, discuss it, some analysis, all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, just how we feel about what we've been watching or listening to. In this episode, we are looking at 28 years later. A long way to sequel perhaps, or maybe not. We'll find out soon. My name is Miles, that's Miles with Y. You can follow me across all social media platforms at Miles Reviews. Please remember to do all that good stuff, like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button to stay up to date with any and all videos and content I'm making. And as with every episode, there are time codes in the description below, so please check it out and move forward, skip ahead, skip back, rewind selector, and time travel as much as you like through this episode. We use a free tier rating system around here. From top to bottom, it's tap it straight to my veins. This sandwich is filling but not satisfying, and that's not it. So how are you guys doing out there? I hope you are well and keeping safe. And I hope you're enjoying the film and TV music out there. Let me know what you're checking out at the moment, what you're watching, what you're listening to. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. So like I said before, we are looking at 28 years later. So here's your cast call. This has Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Ralph Fiennes, Jack O'Connell, Alfie Williams, Erin Kellyman, Edvin Ryding, Lewis Parry, Emma Laird, Joe Blakemore, Christopher Fulford, Gordon Alexander, and Angus Neill, to name a few. Yeah, so let's get into my thoughts right now. Yes, 28 years later. Oh, creepy. I've got a sliver of time, so let's try and talk about this. Sorry if you hear any screaming or anything in the background. All the family are awake. I can't really control that, but we'll see how we get on. I might have to do this all over again, who knows. What's this all about then, Governor? 28 years after the first outbreak of the rage virus, young Spike, Alfie Williams, takes his first trip out to the British mainland with his dad Jamie, Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Will he survive the trip and make it back to the island and his ill mother, Isla, played by Jodie Comer? This is directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland. Yeah, so 28 years later, obviously it's the third in the 28 years trilogy, I guess. I said franchise at one point, but I don't really know if that's correct. No, I won't give it a franchise label. This film was very captivating, and I definitely was, for a lot of it, on the edge of my seat. Once again, horror. I'm not that guy, but as I say, when the story is really good or captivating or whatever, I must overcome. And in this, in most of it I did. Yeah, still very brutal, gory and raw in places, just straight up disgusting in some places, very tense, very to me Miles, very scary in a lot of places, definitely, as well as just to your zombie / gory horror. There's definitely a lot of tense thriller vibes in there, which I appreciated, but also gave me palpitations. Nah, joking, we're that deep. But it was a very well-made film, very well put together, very well performed, well shot, well acted, well directed, and it's just really well done. And I saw in the end credits that Cillian Murphy of the first 28 Days was an executive producer on this. So I don't know exactly what producers do, if I'm honest, but that's cool. What a full circle moment there. I don't know who was producers on 28 Weeks, but yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, moving on from that, it's a good film, you know what I mean? It's just a really good film, really not one that I would necessarily repeat watch, or at least anytime soon, but it was just really, it's just good cinema, man. Like, you know what I mean? It had it all going on. I was running late to this one. Well, almost running late to this one. I made it to the beginning. Let me tell you, all the horror trailers are out, boy. I was just like, flipping it, man. Can we just... But, it makes sense. Yeah, I did watch I watched the 28 Days and 28 Weeks leading up to this. And let me tell you, man, flipping brutal stuff. But you know what's amazing as well? The 28 Days, you definitely see the the progression of quality in each movie. And with 28 Days, like that looked like it was recorded on an old VHS camera. And also, I don't know how they managed to get it, because this, in 28 years, in this movie, they got, a lot of it happens in either on an island or like in the mainland, British mainland, which is now like sort of mostly woods and stuff at this point, right? So, lots of fields or whatnot and stuff. But in 28 Days, obviously it's in like, it starts off in the centre of London, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how they filmed some of this stuff, like how I don't know if they just waited until there was a moment where London was deathly quiet and deathly like hardly anyone there. But yeah, it's amazing. And or like, some stand-in locations for London maybe. But yeah, incredible what they did with that. And obviously 28 weeks. You had the American forces coming in. Spoilers for these movies, by the way, but if I'm talking about 28 years, I'm guessing that you've watched the previous movies. Maybe. Or maybe you should. I just think the movies are really, they're great. They're great in their own way. Obviously, it's not my jam in terms of genre, but the stories are good, man, and it comes together really well. So yeah, I just feel like, Ralph Fiennes is in this, and he's brilliant as usual. And also, I won't get into too much, but his character is very interesting. I'll just leave it there. Yeah. Before we get spoilers, I'll just say his character was very interesting. I loved how this started. Again, I won't say too much about that. What else can I say about before I get into spoilers? For me, it was scary in a way that it was more working on the tension and the danger rather than throwaway jump scares. There might have been one or two bits of that, but I can't really remember, a lot of jump scares. And I will say, I'm getting, as I watch more movies and different kinds of movies, I'm getting more used to jump scares now, So there's a progression there for me. But it definitely, the horror elements definitely worked more on the gore, maybe a bit of body horror to some extent, and tension. Really, it wasn't just a, dare I say, cheap horror movie. It definitely sort of earned its scares, earned its tension, which was really cool. I hear this was shot with a lot of iPhones and an iPhone rig, which reminds me that there's that Stormzy movie Big Man, which I need to check out, that short film. Apparently it's shot with an iPhone. Funny enough, it's shown on Prime Video. How'd you wear that one out? Surely the synergy would have gone to Apple. Anyway, but yeah, this film, it looks great. I just feel like the locations are used really well. The design is very much like, island community, British Isle community, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it just all works really well, man. It's just all the characters, they're very much, what would I say, like kind of a northern dialect. I think it's off the Scottish Highlands anyway. Yeah, it's just kind of, it all kind of really works really well. And it was a really good film to see. And I would definitely recommend it to anyone who doesn't mind a bit of horror, a little bit of gore. It had a decent balance. Like, don't get me wrong, it was mostly horror, but there was a bit of comedy in there. There was quite a bit of tragedy, and just like, I feel like in those moments where it was either funny or maybe like a bit sad, or maybe even joyous at points, they sat in those pockets really well. None of it felt like gimmicky or sort of like tropey or whatever. It was just all very sort of, I don't know, it all felt very authentic and real. Not a very diverse cast by any means in terms of like the main cast. I guess with the community that we are following, the new community that has been put together, it kind of makes sense in terms of geographically. And I don't really mind it. Although I love diversity and representation of different races, people and backgrounds and all that kind of thing, and ethnicities or whatever, I'm never one to like push it over a story, you know what I mean? Like, if it makes sense for the story, or even if it doesn't, but it's not integral to the story, then I don't really mind, I don't really care. But yeah, it was good, man. Danny Boyle Alex Garland, they really did their thing. And so did all the cast. Brilliant. So yeah, tap it straight to my veins. All right, let's get into spoilers now. Again, I apologise, got no notes on this one, but sometimes that makes for a better episode, but also, obviously, I forget stuff. So yes, the opening in itself was very tense and just felt very tragic. So it opens very eerily on... Oh, by the way, I must say that song, that track from the trailer, the Boots one, that's creepy, right? Is that not one of the creepiest things you've heard? And then the way the intensity keeps going as it goes through it. Anyway, so the opening of this movie, I just thought it really set the tone of where we're at with these things. So obviously, this starts sort of probably shortly after the events. I don't know how long after the events of 28 weeks later, but we're still in that, I guess, re-flaring up of the rage virus. Obviously, it's spread throughout Europe now, and but Britain is like sort of the epicenter of it. Alright, sorry to interrupt, guys. I've since discovered that the opening of this is 28 years ago, like the beginning of the outbreak, just in this, seeing it from the point of view of this young boy and this young family in where they're at. Anyway, let's continue. So, you know, you start in this, it opens with like the Teletubby theme, and I'm just like, but like, it's eerie, you know? and like, these kids all just in this room being forced to watch Teletubbies. Not being forced, but being forced to just stay there and watch Teletubbies. I can't really tell what's going on the outside. Like, obviously, like, I think there's definitely one of these infected, at least, running around causing havoc, but like you can't tell exactly what's going on, and that's part of the genius of it. Like, we are basically in the same position as these children being shut in this room waiting to see what go on, you know. Sorry, that's probably have my son there. He's in a singing mood. But yeah, it opens with that, and you don't know what's going on. They're all being herded into this room. There's this mum coming in every now and again saying, stay there. And, you know, just at some point it all just goes mad, and these, you know, the infected have bitten a chunk out of one of the adults, and now the adults are being infected. You know how they do, blood spewing out of their mouths. It's horrible. And the kids all screaming. Prior to that, the kids are like, you know, they're watching the film, but they're not really watching it. They're just kind of facing forward because they've just been told to be in there. They're all like sniffling and crying, and some of the little girls are getting really upset. And it's just horrible. Like, you know that something bad is coming, but you just don't know exactly how and when it's going to come. And when it starts happening, it's like, you know, oh my gosh, like the kids are just being, I mean, fortunately you don't get to see a lot of kids get turned or whatever, but the adults are just being ransacked with these bodies infected, and then it, you know, it just spreads and it ends up with you know, this little blonde kid being told to just run, and he makes it out, but oh my gosh, and then he makes it out to the local church, the village church. It turns out it's his dad there praying, who is the vicar. He's like basically saying to his dad, it's coming, it's the end, they're all coming, they're coming. And he's, you know, he's peeing his pants, as you would be. Flipping zombies coming, like, what's going on? But his dad's like, no, it's not the end, son. It's salvation. His dad is head topped. It's like, he is no longer practicing the religion of Jesus Christ, that's for sure. He's out here, man. He's gone basically. And yeah, basically this horde of infected are coming towards them. It's like, yes, come my children. And they are munching him up quite happily. Little blonde kid who we learn later on is, well, you may not know. I didn't know this until I looked up, but he's actually young Jimmy. Jimmy's at the end, played by Jack O'Connell. And he hides in, this is like an old sort of English church, and he hides in the gratings underneath the floor away from these infected so that they don't attack him as well. And, you know, we find out later on that obviously he survived. But wow, what also at the end there, what a group of strange group of individuals that he's created amongst himself. Like they all had the same kind of haircut. They sort of look like Goldie looking Chain with their tracksuits and their jewellery and stuff, but they all got this sort of golden curly hair. I don't know if it's like, I don't know, he's kind of created a cult. He's wearing an upside down cross now. But yeah, one interesting group. But yeah, we find out that obviously he survives from that attack, is still situated on the mainland of Britain, where a lot of the infected are, but I think with his crew, he's created a sort of barricade away from them. But yeah, that cold open, Flair, man, just set the tone, and it was a madness. It was a madness. Yeah, so I'm not going to go for like play for play, but obviously Spike, played by, what's his name again, Alfie Williams. Also, let's just give it up for Alfie Williams. Brilliantly played. He really captured that. I've seen it before because I used to volunteer with a youth group, and you see sometimes you see these children, these young adults who kind of have like sort of more responsibility than they should have, if you know what I mean. Like they're either a carer for their parent, or help a lot around the house a lot more than, you know, you'd expect a kid to. And you kind of see, like, they're still kids, but you kind of see that kind of weight on them as well. And I feel like he portrayed that really well. You know what I mean? He really gave the sense of a young man, a young boy who was just trying to do his best, reach the standard that was expected of him, but also to take care of his mum and to find a better way for his mum, played by Jodie Comer, who we find out later on has cancer. And, you know, basically she's really ill, skin, all these headaches. She's has these moments of just sort of brain fogginess, you know. She can't even remember what's going on, what day it is, what year it is sometimes. And, yeah, she just, she has moments of lucidness, but for the most part, she's just in and out of this, you know, and just in real pain, and mostly mostly in bed. Bedridden? No. Mostly in bed. But yeah, Alfie Williams just does a great job of sort of portraying that young character that just has it all going on, but is still trying to continue, you know what I mean? And yeah, he did a great job. And their setup of like being on an island, his first time going out onto the mainland with his dad Jamie, played by Aaron Taylor-Johnson, who was brilliant as well. Like, he wasn't likable, but he wasn't really meant to be, you know what I mean? Like, you can see there was some good to him, but he clearly it's sort of been eroded by the situation that they're in, you know, being stuck on the island, and I guess seeing his wife deteriorate and knowing that there's nothing he can do about it, because in this community as well, there's no doctors, you know what I mean? All the doctors are either infected or they're just not there. They're not part of the community, so there's no, like, and no one sort of, that knowledge hasn't really been passed on or learnt, you know, they just kind of, everyone's just got what they got. So they built this community and they built their rules and everything and stuff, but no one's out here just practicing medicine like, okay, I wonder what this does, what this does. Like, no one's got time for that. They're just out here trying to survive, you know what I mean? So it was a really interesting setup, and just to see the sort of consequences of that kind of thing, like almost going back to the Dark Ages where you may have had a a doctor or something, sorry, but the level of medical education, I guess, was just so low that, like, say your leg get infected, just chop it off, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. That's basically where we're at with this, because they don't have the medicines and stuff available to them. All they got is what's on this small island and what they managed to forage from the mainland, also realizing that out there on the mainland is just danger and death waiting for them, and they have to be really careful. And, you know, yeah, so he goes over his dad, and let me say, his dad is definitely got that toxic masculinity on lock. Like, he you can see he loves his son, but he's also, like, you know, really pushing him to be a man and do air quote manly things. And you know, Spike is, you know, his character is a really sweet boy, but he, as well as wanting to be there for his mum, he wants to be there for his dad and step up and be the man that his dad expects him to be, because also, you know, their family is just him, his dad and his mum, and I think his granddad, or uncle, I don't know who that old dude was. He was played by Christopher Fulford, I think, played Sam. And he was kind of like a father figure to, what do you call him? To Spike. But yeah, I don't really know what the dynamic was there. But yeah, that's all he really had. Like sure, they had the community in that, but as a family unit, it was just them, you know. Spike's dealing with like sort of the toxic masculinity of his dad and trying to reach those almost impossible standards. The constant deterioration of his mum, and there's not really much time for him to be a child, to just be a boy. He's learning how to kill infected humans, basically. And I feel like what's really interesting in this one is the way that the infected have evolved. So before there was just like a horde of zombies. Now it's like, you know, there's different types. So you got these like really kind of overweight ones that just kind of crawl along the ground and just sort of eat insects and worms and stuff. You know, they can't really chase after you because they're really slow. You've got these really like gaunt, skinny, horrible zombie looking ones that sort of like, you know, like your traditional sort of zombies, like sort of slow but not slow, sort of wandering around, clearly starved but still very dangerous. And then where you got these other ones, right, along with the alpha. So there's now like an alpha one, I gotta say. Like, it's where it's been so long now, all these infected are basically, for the most part, naked. And the alpha, you can see why they're the alpha. Let's put it that way. I think, there's one particular guy, I can't remember who he was played by now, but he's in there. Yeah, he's out here, boy. He's out here just, and these guys are fast. They're organised, you know, the alpha screams something and they all run, like they got commands, they got strategy, you know what I mean? This is very dangerous zombie behaviour. Like, this is scary, man. But basically what you find out as well, that they're also procreating. So they're having children. There's one pregnant once Spike and his mum Isla are out on the mainland, basically due to that trust being broken between Spike and his dad after Spike sees him with another woman. So that kind of trust and respect is sort of crumbles away, and I feel they dealt with that really well as well. But once that happens, it's like he then takes his mother out to the mainland in order to get her cure, because he hears about this doctor who is played by Ralph Fiennes, Dr. Kelson. But there's rumours that, you know, the doctor's gone mad and he's insane and he's, you know, you don't want to go to him, he's dangerous or whatever. But, Spike decides to risk it anyway in order to save his mum. But, yeah, on their journey, one of the characters they run into is an infected pregnant woman. And then, Isla, being a mum... oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't stop the screaming. Anyway, maybe it's appropriate for this episode. Anyway, I said I'll go for a bit. Isla, hears this kind of straining and screaming from the infected woman and finds out she's pregnant. And so helps her through giving birth to the child. So I think, like, the infected work very much off of instinct. And I think instinctually, most of the time, their instinct is to bite, destroy, kill, whatever, feed. In this instance, as the infected woman was going through labour, her instinct was to get this child out of her. So, you know, she kind of simmers down and Isla helps her through birth. And she gives birth to the child, and the child is just like straight up human, like not infected at all, no sign of infection, just a little baby, a little baby girl. And as soon as the infected woman gives birth to the little baby, and a couple seconds she's like right back to like trying to, you know, snap and eat. And they're with this Navy officer or Navy, I don't know what you call it, Navy soldier from Sweden. He was very funny as well. He wasn't, you know, what was interesting is that you saw the difference between your islanders and people that are in places where there's not as much, I guess, infection going on. So this Swedish guy, played by Edvin Ryding, plays a character called Eric, who is he's a neighbourman, and basically he's out there with his squad trying to, I don't know what was their mission again, I can't even remember, but basically they were out there trying to, I guess, either assist or find new land that was okay or whatever. But him and his squad basically get taken out. He's like the only one left. He's got like a phone. He's got like, modern day technology and that. And Spike is just like bewildered by it. Can't believe it. But anyway, this guy saves them as they get attacked in a diner. Oh yeah, the alpha infected guy was played by Lewis Parry, who plays Samson. That's what the doctor calls him anyway. But anyway, basically Eric, the navyman, he ends up shooting the infected woman dead because she basically reverts back to being a rage-filled zombie. And so he kills her off before, they can kill their family. Anyway, eventually, and unfortunately, Eric gets captured by Samson, who rips the infected Alpha. For some reason, has this thing about ripping off the head while the spine is attached out of creatures and people's bodies. Like I say, sometimes it's just raw and disgusting, and he does that to Eric, and yeah, it's really oh my gosh, it's just horrendous. They manage to escape him and eventually find Dr. Kelson, played by Ralph Fiennes, and I gotta say that I loved what they did with this character. Yeah, he was a bit mad, a bit quirky. So would you be if you're living out in the wilderness on your own for 28 years surrounded by infected. But it's crazy because what he does is basically he collects any dead and is basically creating this sort of memorial. You see it on the poster with the Tower of Skulls of the dead. And I think the quote is, I wish I had it here, man. Immortus. I don't know. I'll find it later. But basically that we must die, and everyone dies eventually as they do, and he just kind of basically working on, just for whatever reason, creating this I don't know, what do you call it? Yeah, I don't know. this memorial, I guess, to the dead, and it seems like he's mad from afar, but he's still a doctor. He doesn't have a lab and that, and all the equipment, but he's able to do some things here and there. He has a bit of like morphine and tranquilizers and stuff like that, and enough to sort of keep the infected at bay. And he has enough set up that he is kind of in his own sort of fortress, if you will, to some extent. But yeah, I really liked his sort of interactions with Spike, and just how, kind of like how in this situation he viewed death and also love, and I'm going to say he's probably the realest guy in the whole movie. He's I wouldn't say he's got it all figured out, but he definitely knows Wagwan, and yeah, a lot of good quotes from him, a lot of interesting character choices with him, like in a good way. But I really like this one. I thought it was a really decent movie, man. It was a really good film. There's lots I could talk about more, about the themes of death and love and survival and morality in a world where all those social constructs are, for the most part, gone or being rebuilt again. But yeah, I'm really interested to see, if they make another one. It's going to be 28 decades later, I don't know. But where this goes. But what I'm really hoping for is like a 28 years later part 2, because it does end in a really interesting place. And I'm interested to see where Spike's next chapter takes him, you know what I mean? Like, after running in with the Jimmies, and what have the Jimmies been up to? What's going on with them, that crew? Is he going to make it back to the island? Are the Jimmies going to try and take over the island? Like, are they going to survive out there? Will Spike manage to find a way out? Because this Jimmy dude, he's a bit turned up in the wrong way. You know what I mean? Like he's definitely made something of himself for sure, but what he's made, I don't know. You know, and after seeing your whole family get murdered and slaughtered, and you're the only survivor, and boy, you know, you can understand why a guy might go a little loopy. But yeah, it was a really I can't say that because it's a really good film, great British film, and just great film all in all. I wouldn't say fully enjoyed it, but I really found it very entertaining, very interesting, and you could probably talk about loads of different things for a day. So yeah, overall 28 years later, tapping straight to my veins. Yes, so that's my thoughts on 28 years later. What did you guys think? Have you seen the movie yet? Is it something you're looking forward to seeing? Have you enjoyed the trilogy so far? Let me know in the comments below your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to know what you think about it. And yes, you have been listening to me, of course, Miles. That's Miles with a Y. And you can follow me across all platforms at Miles Reviews, just to see what's going on the social media and all that kind of thing. And please do all that good stuff, like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification button to stay up to date with any videos and content I'm making. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. I hope you enjoyed this show. Let me know how you're finding the episode, how you're finding the show in general. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you guys as usual. And I hope you guys are well out there and enjoying the film, TV, and music. But most importantly, life. All right, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. God bless and all the rest.